Hi and welcome to How to Boost Your Brand in 10 Days. I am Susan Young and welcome along to the presentation. So what we're going to do is 9 things. We're actually going to do 10 things because there are 10 steps in how you boost your brand. And first of all, we're going to set your stage. Then we're going to suss out all the things that you need to do. I'll explain Get Listing to you in a little while. Lending a hand is a really interesting one. Getting out and meeting up with people, asking questions, video just a little bit like what I'm making here with lovely sounds of fire engines and all kinds of stuff going on in the background. We'll analyze the results and then we talk about contact, and that's not me, by the way, not contacting me. Okay, so you are a brand and you own it, so we have to set your stage. Now, claiming your name. You may have heard this a million times over, but if you haven't done it, you can go and claim your name on all of the platforms that you think you will be using. And I just want you to note something here. You need to plan this out. So don't go jumping in and creating a whole lot of profiles that you aren't ever going to use. You want to keep things private to start with until you build one profile, analyze your results, and then you can start building on the next thing. I've used this quote here from Mark Twain: whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And the reason for that is if you have a look at any of the social media outlets at the moment, there's a lot of same stuff going on. And also, what can happen there is that you just blend into a sea of the same thing. So how are you going to stand out? But claiming your name and claiming a domain name is actually really, really important. But don't go across every social media platform to begin with. So what I want you to think about is start with where you are, because you already have a network. So whether you are new business, you're an established business, or you're changing your career direction, you already have a platform to begin. So think about your current circumstances and the people that you work with or surround yourself with. These people already know you as a brand and have made assumptions, judgments, and a mix of true and false statements about you. This is a platform where you need to begin. So what's your now and what's your future? What do you want these people to believe about you in your future? I'll just give you an example here. So when I started personal styling, my background before that was IT recruitment. So I had to make a change with my brand and let people know what I was doing. And that started with employers, past employers, people and colleagues that I'd worked with, and then people that I wanted to work with in the future. And I started to re-network through all of my social media and particularly my LinkedIn profile what I was doing next. So this is what I'm talking about. The platform that you already have is where you can start to establish where you want to be in the future. So we're in this new gold rush era of our times. It's pretty amazing that we can have the use of social media and technology to really build our careers and our businesses. And it amazes me to think how far we've come, because it was back in 2003 when LinkedIn started. And who remembers MySpace, which was in 2004? Now, Facebook started in the same year, but it didn't really get much momentum until a couple of years down the track. I think I started on Facebook around about 2009 or 2007 or 2009, can't quite remember. Reddit and YouTube out in 2005, Twitter 2006, Tumblr 2007, and 2010 Instagram and Pinterest. What's really interesting is that Instagram has increased its viewership in the last 9 months by 50%, so it now gets more people on that network than Twitter does. And in 2011, Google Plus and Snapchat started. And Snapchat happens to be the largest growing social media platform, which is really interesting because when it first started, it was used as, you know, all different kinds of things. I'm not going to tell you the secrets that I used it for. Kidding. But a lot of people think it's for teenagers, but lots and lots of big brands are using Snapchat at the moment, and it's really, really, really growing. So where are you? And where do you want to be now and also in the future? So have a look at all of those different places. And this is only a snapshot of some of the most popular platforms. It's not all of them. So what I want you to think about is go suss this out and be a super sleuth about where you want to be seen. Because people buy from people, so you need to build a reputation. And it doesn't matter whether you are building your career or you're building a business. The concepts are exactly the same because you are a career, whether you're in a business, etc. So I want you to think about who do you want to get in front of and why. So what value do you have to offer and what results or outcomes can you deliver? We live in this content-saturated digital landscape, so you need to be a problem solver, not just somebody that comes in and does the do. You need to come up with solutions. So there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and being an intrapreneur. So not everyone wants to start their own business. Some people like the idea of being employed, but what you can do is add value and create solutions within a business by becoming what is termed as an intrapreneur. There is a new paradigm shift in the way that we work, so you need to start thinking about how you can add more value. So what are those problems and how can you create solutions? So by super sleuthing and working out who you want to get in front of and what they need, you'll be 10 steps ahead of the old school way of thinking. Now, where are these people hanging out? So this is down to your own research. So, you know, if you think about the people that hang out on LinkedIn are different from the people that hang out on Facebook and different from Snapchat. So you've really got to think about your audience and what you're seeking in a new career or what you're looking for in terms of clients and prospects. The other thing is here that's really interesting to know is that about 78% of jobs aren't advertised and are placed outside of recruitment agencies via the unseen job market. So all of those positions are being filled outside of what you could traditionally think of as being the way to find a job. So you need to get creative about how you're doing this. The next thing is when. When are you online and when are you offline meeting people? Being helpful and, you know, when are you spending the right time in the right places? Because there are optimal times for posting and helping and appearing online as well as offline. So you need to do some fact finding to work out when it's best and also, you know, when your peeps are engaged online. And I want you to consider building a personal website. So I've got WordPress on here and I use WordPress myself. There are definitely other types of websites you can build for free. But WordPress has a 19% share of the internet and websites that run on WordPress. It's one of the easiest things to learn and set up, and you can basically have a website live within 1 to 24 hours. Now this is another way for you to showcase who you are because you can create a blog on WordPress. So that's where you can start thinking about sharing content either in vlogs, which is a video blog, or through your written blog. You can also contribute to other sites by guest posting and writing articles. So think about things like the Huffington Post, Entrepreneur, Business Insider, etc. These are all places where you can actually start to share your articles and get seen. Now, if you do this consistently, it doesn't take long to build a reputation and a brand. Now, the other thing that you can do when you've got a personal website is you can start building a list. So you can have an opt-in form with something that entices people to get on the list. And you can really start to build your authority by pushing out content that's really interesting and of interest to your audience. And you want to be able to keep them engaged. So 90% of your success rate is going to be based on how you keep your audience engaged. And this is half the battle. And again, this is about being creative with your personality and being completely authentic and genuine in what you're doing. Now, I said at the beginning, well, I want you to get listing. And this is about creating a list of things that you need to do. So creating a list of groups, for example, if you were in Facebook, you can go and look at all the different lists that are in there, all the different groups that are in there, and find out when people are posting different things and create a list or a spreadsheet so that you can go in there and start being of value and being helpful. Look at the different posting days so that you can see where you can also share some of your cool stuff. So for example, you might have something that you want to sell, or you might have something that you want to promote, and there will be days where you can do that. Look at what people are talking about in these groups, because people start to share their problems, and if you can sit there and listen and be really cool, not only will you learn the stories of what's going on, but you'll be able to develop a list of all of the things that people are frustrated about or worried about, and you can then get clues to where you can solve the problems, and it's a really great way of finding out what's going on in the market. So the best way to organize yourself is start creating a list and notes of what people are saying. Be observant and listen to conversations. And this is where you need to blend in and fit in, join the conversation. And to stand out, this is where you provide solutions. The next step then, of course, is lending a hand. Now, we all like to help others, right? So if not, then I suggest you start helping out quickly. Now, the reason being, no one likes a persistent marketer who has got nothing to contribute or add. In fact, you'll get booted out of groups and conversations really quickly if you start the act of self-promoting your brilliance via your ego rather than coming from your heart. So be helpful and don't be a nuisance. So as I said, don't be a nuisance, go around and create value. You want to be nice wherever you are too, and be consistent. One thing as well I really want to point out here, which is so important, is if you have mentors and they're teaching you things and you're liking their things, make sure you share that stuff too. So share and like anything from your mentors, and they'll do the same back to you because they want you to grow and learn. Now, if you're looking at other sites, make sure that you favorite things on Twitter or you read pinning things. And don't forget the golden rule of staying cool and being cool wherever you go online. The next thing that I want you to do is think about yourself offline and find your meetup and attend. Now, I know for some people, the thought of networking makes you squirm in your chair. However, networking and face-to-face meetings are the best ways to have collaborations and really get to know people in your audience. Now, if you haven't heard of Meetup before, it's really easy to find. It's just meetup.com, and then you can find meetups in the industry or things that you're interested in, and then just book yourself in and go along. You'll find that you'll be with like-minded people, other people that are not that happy about networking, but you've got to look at it as a way to build your brand. So it's easy for me to say don't be shy, but I know that everybody else is in the same boat as you, so just go along. You just got to pluck up the courage to do it. And you can also use your research to help you recognize people and introduce yourself. So your subject will be flattered, and if you start conversations with things like, I noticed you online with this article X, you'll be off to a good start. So don't let the confidence of others overwhelm you either. So anyone that's out there and confident as speakers, etc., they all started where you are too. Just be alert, be approachable, be yourself and smile. Never ever sell or market to anyone at your meetups. Ask lots of questions and be interesting and really interested in the people that you're talking to. And then one thing that I cannot say more than anything else is being polite. When you're super polite, you will be remembered. Now, I want you to think about the questions that you're going to ask, because you want to be relevant when you're networking. And being polite, as I said, is the best way to be remembered. So when I say polite, what I mean is not talking about yourself unless you are asked. So try to be direct the conversation back to the person or the group. Be diplomatic and be curious and courteous, and always, always be kind. So be noteworthy by being interested. So before you go to the meetup, read up and learn about the subjects that they're talking about, and also look at who's speaking and find out about their latest blogs and articles to discuss, and have your own opinion on them, and stand by your opinion but play nice. So a little bit of diplomacy, be courteous and curious, know your stuff, be noteworthy, read up and learn. Don't be a stalker though, because that's creepy, and allow others into the conversation. Now make videos and start posting. So this is where the fun begins, right? Because this will really get you noticed. And I want you to think about creating cornerstone content for your videos. So if you've seen me posting online, there's a method to the madness. There's always a theme that's running behind everything. So first of all, you need to plan what you're going to do. So the cornerstone content is the stuff that you're going to become known for. So don't rush out and post willy-nilly, have a strategy. So if you see me posting, as I said, there's always a theme with an outcome in mind with a specific value attached. So map this all out and write it out. And if you don't like writing, get yourself a voice app and say your stuff into a voice app and then get someone off Fiverr to transcribe it for you. It'll literally cost you a $5. So that's pretty cool. And what you can do is map out a whole 12 months worth of content, even if it's just headlines, that's going in a flow in a direction. So if you have a headline for those 12 months, if it's one post per month to start you off, as a blog content as an example, then your mini parts of content, so the content that comes underneath the cornerstone content, can be themes within that theme. So an example of that could be personal branding for entrepreneurs is the theme for January, but that month all of the posts are all of the different things that you need to do for that for being an entrepreneur. The next month would be a full one from that, so you've got a whole map for the whole year. So what you want to do for that, so that's what we call gateway content. So that's a content that you're going to be giving away and adding lots and lots and lots of value and really helping people. So, providing an understanding of all of the experience that you've had in sharing stuff, but sharing your personality at the same time. So then you want to think about when you're going to post and how you're going to post. So you need to create your schedule for your posts. And there's lots and lots of free software out there to do this. You can use Buffer or Hootsuite, which is free to start you off. But if you do have a budget, you can use something like Edgar, which is an option. It's about $49 a month. Otherwise, the other thing that you can do is have an hour of power to get you noticed. And then all you need to do is go on repeat. And just keep going, and this is where the consistency part comes in. Now you can be consistently inconsistent too, because you don't need to be sending stuff out every day, but you've got to be consistent in your message, and that's more important than anything else. Okay, so always just keep going and don't give up, because you will probably start thinking that no one's watching what you're doing, but they are. Trust me, they are paying attention. So the next thing is analyzing your results, and this might make you go, oh my god, boring, but it's really important. And there's a few ways to do it, and on this little recording here I can't show you, but what I will do is a separate video that shows you how to analyze your results. So if you're posting stuff and you've got no idea what people are liking, what they're sharing, what they're interested in, then you can't really then create a new content map of all of the good stuff or reshare the content that you've already shared. Because what you might be doing when you repurpose things is sharing the stuff that nobody really cares about. So this is really important, that you go back and have a look at what people are interested in, and then instead of going and mapping out another 12 months of content, you've already got content that you can just repurpose. And the beautiful thing about repurposing content is you can do that because the news feeds are so filled up with stuff, the likelihood of anyone seeing your stuff on repeat is pretty minimal. Unless they're stalking you, of course, which might happen. Who knows? We just put a new spin on it. Okay, so hashtag personal revolution. This is the hashtag that I've been using because I want you to make your mark, and I want you to start thinking about what makes you different and what makes you special and unique. We are all valuable and different, and you need to think about you and your personal revolution and what you're bringing to the party. Now, I mentioned contact at the beginning of the slides, and you really have to make contact with people. This is you building connections, and your contacts can become lifelong connections and also help you to refer you onto the relevant people who may want what you have to offer, or get you that job, or get you that next piece of work. Now, to build on this, you have to follow up with people that you're meeting. Nothing worse than going to a networking event, collecting a whole load of business cards or phone numbers in your cute little smartphone, but then doing nothing with them. Now, when it comes to strategy, no two strategies are the same. And this is how I map out my business, and it works. But the game is forever changing. So if you have a look at my brand, like, it's always constantly evolving. So you need to start looking at where you are now, take ownership and responsibility for you and what you are doing, and build a plan around that. Because plans never fail, it's people that fail the plans. So if you put something into place, the only way it will work is if you execute it. Now, this stuff isn't easy, is it, right? There's a lot to do, and there's a lot to take in, and whilst you may have done a great job already, there's always more that you can do. Now, one mistake that I think that people make all of the time is always looking at the outcome, looking at the outcome of, what am I going to get from this? What am I going to get from this? So if you remove yourself from the outcome and just add value, watch what happens. Lead from the heart and not from the ego, and people will want to work with you. I just want to talk about that rookie mistake for one more time, the follow-up. It's so important. Now, you need to go about sleuthing, figuring out who you want to work with. You're going to spend a lot of time doing that, but then don't make the mistake of making everything about you when you go into Facebook groups or lists on Twitter or whatever it is that you're doing wherever. Go and learn what's going on and learn how to engage with the people. And if you look at that, that spells style. This is your way to communicate. And I don't design the clothes, I design the dreams. And I would just put that in there for a bit of fun. So go and get social proof as well. I want you to think about, who have you worked with in the past that can create a testimonial for you around what you've done, and you can share this on your website or on your LinkedIn profile or wherever you can. And if you have worked with an influencer in the past, get them to recommend you. Get your best client or your best employer to talk about you and share that stuff out there in the world, because people really love social proof and they want to know who they're getting. Okay, what I'm going to do now is finish this little presentation here, and I'm going to create you another little video on the back of this that goes into showing you how all of this stuff works, so you can look at the two things combined. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will sign off here. I'm Susan Young, and I'll talk to you soon.